Back, we're here with Dr. Stuart Bloch, and the barbell for your hoo-ha. No, that's not the name of it. It's called the Kegelcisor, and it's meant for the strengthening of your PC muscle. Right before we went to break, I was telling you about my mother. Well, she called during break, and she said, no worries, I've been embarrassing her since I was 13, so we're good to go there. But we were talking about older people and their medical conditions and how the Kegelcisor can alleviate a lot of those, if not all of them. But let's talk about the other aspect of this as well, and that's your sexual health and how that enhances that.
Well, this is the major love muscle of the body, the PC muscle. There is no other muscle that contributes to the pleasure you can have during your intimate relationships. And the tighter that muscle is, the more pleasure you have, the more orgasms you have, the more your partner feels the embrace, the easier it is to find your G-spot, which contributes to additional pleasure.
I just saw a bunch of hands go up going, G-spot? What's a G-spot?
The G-spot is named after Dr. Greffenberg, a Dutch doctor who discovered it. It's actually the female version of the male prostate. It's critical for women to know that because when it's stimulated, they will actually ejaculate. Not all, but about 12 to 14% will ejaculate. And they need to know that because some of them have cut off their ability to experience orgasm because their partners think that they're urinating on them. And this is not urine. This comes from the Bartholin gland, and it's like what a man would ejaculate, except it doesn't have any semen in it because women don't produce semen.
Correct.
So the more we know about our bodies and our body's pleasure and how much more pleasurable sex can be between our partners and ourselves, the more pleasure we're going to have.
Excuse my ignorance. Correlate this with the PC muscle and the G-spot.
Okay. This strengthens the PC muscle. The PC muscle is a major love muscle.
Right.
It is difficult when that muscle is weak to find the G-spot. When that muscle is strong, you can find the G-spot, which is about 2 centimeters in the anterior wall of the vagina, corresponding to the backside of the clitoris. Now, there are many women who don't even know that they have a clitoris or that that's a major seat of pleasure.
Well, a lot of them didn't know that they had a Kegel muscle, so that doesn't completely astonish me. We're talking about the Kegelcisor being a medical aid in healing certain medical conditions.
Correct.
We also were discussing the Kegelcisor to be an aid in sexual enhancement and for that experience. Can it be preventative? And the reason I'm asking is, do you introduce the Kegelcisor in some of the workshops that we were just talking about?
We always introduce the Kegelcisor in the workshops because we want people to have all the benefits, the complete range, the preventative, the healing, and the additional sexual pleasure that's available to them. So in the workshop, we'll always have it at the back of the room, available for sale for those people who want to do it. It's not something we force them to buy because we want people to, self-actualize for themselves. But the workshops themselves are so powerful and create such more pleasure for people and so much greater communication than they've ever had available to them before. The Man the Natural Lover workshop is for men only. We never get men to register unless their women say, you're not getting any more unless you take this workshop. We do What Do Men Really Want for women only, and those are always filled. We do the Love, Sex, Communication workshop for the general public, and we give a discount to partners. And people usually are about 5 or 6, their legs are about 5 or 6 inches too short to reach the floor when they move out of the room because they've gotten so much value out of the workshop.
Right. And I don't think there's anything greater than opening up those lines of communication and going, aha.
Yes.
Well, okay, if we're talking about great communication, let's just talk about this in terms of communication. The audience may not actually get how this is used.
Okay.
So if we're going to have a straight conversation about this is going to enhance your sex life, people may look at that and go, and have the wrong idea. This is to strengthen a muscle. And without getting really graphic, or maybe we should.
Well, we can. We can show it here.
I just don't want everybody to walk away going, well, okay, I heard him say it, but I'm not really understanding what they meant.
this is a PC muscle representation.
Right.
This is the opening to the vagina. We're going to take the first 4 weeks, we're going to take the large sphere and the large cylinder, and we're going to insert that vaginally and do the exercises that is described in the complete instruction book.
Okay.
And then the second 4 weeks, we're going to reverse it, and we're going to do the same exercises as described in the booklet using the center sphere and the smaller cylinder with the small sphere. And we're going to continue that for 4 weeks. The last 4 weeks, you're just going to do the exercises on the cylinder, small cylinder, and the small sphere. The object is going to be for it to be difficult to pull the small sphere from the vagina while you're clamping down.
Jeez.
And that's not actually going to happen, but that's the desired effect, that it is difficult to pull.
Hence the enhancement in your sexual experience with your
Exactly.
partner is that muscle is tightening
Because this
around
muscle has now
him.
come down to a much tighter constriction, giving your partner a greater embrace, giving you a greater experience, and multiple orgasms which may not have been available to you before.
Right, because that muscle was not as strong as it needed to be.
Particularly after childbirth, that happens. So that, we find that it's very beneficial, not only as a healthcare product, but as a aid to more pleasure and satisfaction in your relationship. And I'm certain God always wanted us to have that because we're still here doing it.
You know what's been so great for me today is it's been so easy to talk to you.
Well, thank you.
It's you're such a professional in the way that you are speaking with me and answering the questions and concerns that I have, which I know that they have.
But wait till I call your mom.
She'll probably want to have a conversation with you. I'm getting me hurried up. But I have one more question because I know that my audience is thinking about it because I am, and that is, there's 2 different sizes here. So just reiterate one more time the difference in that, because they're going to say, do I use the big one? Do I use the little one? They're not going to know.
The Kegel enhancer is for a muscle that has atrophied and is so tight that it's almost impossible to use the Kegelcisor. So the Kegel enhancer will give them the relief and the strength that muscle needs.
Okay.
The Kegelcisor will actually strengthen that muscle what has weakened and will give them much more sexual pleasure and the healing that they're really looking for in their PC muscle.
Okay, there's just so much information. This half hour has flown by, and I know that we've just touched on everything. If you haven't had the opportunity to sit through the entire 30-minute segment, please go to the website. You can watch it there. Dr. Bloch gives 100% guarantee money back if you're not satisfied. If you do not have a 56% increase in your sexual pleasure, how exactly do you measure that?
Well, we measure the strength of the PC muscle using a device called the periodometer, and we actually get a paper readout from the beginning of the experience and the end of the exercise program.
Oh, I knew there was a medical terminology for it. I just wondered how you did that.
Periodometer.
Excellent. And it's also a 56 decrease in their medical conditions.
Oh, absolutely.
In using this. Yeah. And that's easy enough to certainly measure. It's been, like I said, a half hour that has gone by way too quickly. Maybe we'll get a chance to talk about it again at another time. It would be wonderful to have you back.
It'd be great to do that.
It would be.
Thank you, Cindy. You've been delightful.
Thank you. You've been so incredibly, informative on an area I'm sure most of us had no idea. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.